writing that were written about the picture of the monkey sitting in the rain underneath the leaf. We had lots of fantastic bits of writing. Today we are looking at doing something similar. You are going to create another piece of creative writing, this time about this picture, and you are going to use some of the grammatical and the techniques that we learn in literacy for writing to help you. So you will only be using things you already know how to do. Now, the 3 things that your teachers would like you to include in your writing today, your 3 objectives are similes. We would like you to include a simile. Alternative verbs, we would like you to include 1 or 2 alternative verbs, and subordinate clauses. We have done work on all of these recently. So, here I have written, I'm not going to point at them because I don't want to give you the answers away. 1 simile, 1 alternative verb, and 1 subordinate clause. What I would like you to do now is to pause the video, to stop, and to match up the simile with the simile, the alternative verb with the alternative verb, and the subordinate clause with the subordinate clause. Okay, off you go. Right, well done. Let's have a look at the answers. So, first of all, we have our simile. The bottom example here is the simile, as loud as thunder. A simile is when you say something is like something else. So, as loud as or like at. And this says as loud as thunder. The next one, the alternative verb, was the top one. Charging. Charging is an alternative verb for running. So instead of saying running, you could say someone was charging. If you are charging, you are running in quite a forceful way. So you wouldn't really charge in a race, but if you were playing with your friends in the playground, you might be charging. Or if you were running away from a volcano, you might say you were charging. And the subordinate clause is here. Before the volcano erupted, comma. We know this is a subordinate clause because it is a group of words that together make one idea, but that idea doesn't make sense as a sentence by itself. And our subordinating conjunction here is before. And we know that our subordinate clauses always start with a subordinating conjunction. Well done. I hope you got those answers right. Now, your next job, and we've been doing this in our lessons and we've been doing this in our Google Meet sessions as well. The most important thing to do when you are about to start a piece of creative writing is to look at a picture and talk about and write down words, things that you can see, things that spring to mind. Exciting words are better than boring words. So, with this in mind, we would like you to, once again, pause the video and to write down some words which describe what you can see. They might be nouns, adjectives, adverbs. You might even write down 1 or 2 things like similes or alternative verbs. So, can you pause the video now and can you write down 10 words or things that you can see in this picture? Off you go, please, Year 4s. Well done. Okay. Here are the words that I have written down which remind me of which I can see in this picture. So, the words I have written down are torrents. Torrents is a bit of a tricky word. It means like rivers. Okay? So you might say that torrents of lava or rivers of lava were flowing down the side of the volcano. The next word is fury. Fury means anger. And if we look at this explosion, It looks like a really angry one, so I think this would be a good word. Molten rock. Molten means melted, and we know that lava is melted rock. I've written this down because if we are writing 6 or 8 sentences about a volcano and we want to talk about lava more than once, which would be fine to do, it might be useful to have an alternative word for lava so that we're not repeating ourselves. Chaos. Okay, I've written down chaos because I think if a volcano exploded in a town or a city near you, there would be chaos. People would not know what was going on. Cascade. Cascade means to fall down. So again, you might say lava cascaded down the volcano. Lava fell down the volcano. So you could say rivers of lava cascaded down, or torrents of lava cascaded down. Lava, we all know what the word lava means, and electric. And I've put electric here because we can see lightning coming out of there. Okay. So now we have our exciting vocabulary describing our picture. We can start to write a piece of descriptive writing. So, we have some 6 sentences here. So these are not exciting sentences. And what we want to do is we want to write some exciting ones. Lava went over the ground. There was lightning in the sky. It was a scary sight. Okay, so that's the sort of thing that in year 1 or year 2 we'd say yes. But now you're in year 3 and year 4, we want some much better sentences than this, including one that starts with an alternative verb, one that starts with a simile, and one that starts with a subordinate clause. Now, I am going to go over to my computer and I am going to model writing some sentences about this picture. So you will see the sentences coming up here, then I will come back and I will highlight these things. So watch the board, I will be back. So my sentences are going to be gazing at the lava, comma, the villagers stared in disbelief. It was the moment they had been dreading for decades. Decades means tens of years. The volcano had erupted. A short sentence to punch the reader in the face. As torrents, which means rivers, of molten rock, so as torrents of molten rock, as rivers of lava cascaded down the volcano, comma, the earth shook. Clouds of ash swarmed over the countryside like bees. Like angry bees. Chaos reigned. Reigned was one of our homophones. It means ruled. So a queen or a king can rule, but here chaos is ruling. Nobody knows what's going on. So chaos reigned as the beast that had been sleeping for years woke up and unleashed its anger on the world. Okay. Now, before I do my underlining, I am going to do what any and all of us should do after we have written some work. I am going to read it back and check my work. So, gazing at the lava, comma, the villagers stared in disbelief. I know that when I start a sentence with an alternative verb, the second verb needs to be different to the first one. Here I've got gazing at the lava, the villagers stared or looked in disbelief. The two verbs can't mean the same thing. So I'm going to change this one for the villagers felt disbelief. And we've talked about if we are stuck for what that second verb in the sentence should be, felt is always a really good one. It was the moment they had been dreading for decades. Uh-oh, my sentence doesn't start with a capital letter. Let's change that. The volcano had erupted. As torrents of molten rock cascaded down the volcano, comma, the earth shook. Clouds of ash swarmed over the countryside like angry bees. Chaos reigned as the beast that had been sleeping for years woke up and unleashed its anger on the world. Okay, I don't need to do any more red pen work, so now I am going to underline my alternative verb, my simile and my subordinate clause. So, my alternative verb is gazing. It is an alternative verb for looking. My simile, clouds of ash swarmed over the countryside like angry bees. I am saying the cloud of ash is like angry bees. And finally, my subordinate clause, as torrents of molten rock cascaded down the volcano. As torrents of molten rock cascaded down the volcano. Okay, that doesn't make sense by itself. So, I've got all three things. I have described what's happening in my picture. We would like you now to have a go at home. So think of 10 words to describe your picture and write between 6 or 8 sentences to describe what's happening in the picture. We really look forward to reading your work. Goodbye, Year 4.